An angel has always been thought to be one of God's most precious works. Guess that's how she had you fooled. 'Cause she was an angel in disguise. Hurt and pain could never come from her. So you left me only to find that hurt and pain involves her. And now you see your mistakes. And now you see the angel was.
So what was your thought process, in creating Angel in Disguise?
Well, first of all, I was surrounded around super talented, genius people. LaShawn Big Shiz Daniels was
rest in peace.
Genius songwriter, vocal producer. My brother Fred Jerkins.
Yes, sir, Fred.
Genius musician. I wouldn't be a producer if it wasn't for my brother Fred and me watching him produce as a child. When we did Angel in Disguise, when we did Never Say Never, I never forget, we had this book. We brought this book in it was a cliche book. So if you really look at all the titles of the songs that I produced on Never Say Never, they were all cliches, like Learn the Hard Way.
Right.
Never Say Never. Like,
wow.
We took literally titles out this cliche book and created these songs. Angel in Disguise specifically, which was one of my favorites, because if you listen to it, it was moving like this. And we're just now moving like this in the last 5 years.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Because most people back then, when it was slow, people moved like this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But rhythmically, everything was moving in a really progressive way for that time, because that halftime is what's going on now. So when you hear like a lot of the records from her to Summer Walker, it's like halftime. It's halftime, right?
Absolutely.
Halftime. But we was doing that in 1997. Okay. Angel in Disguise. Angel in Disguise was like we were like really at the end of Never Say Never when I did Angel in Disguise. That was one of the last records, right?
Wow.
And I felt like it needed a male voice somewhere in the song. I don't know why, but it was just like, man, it would be dope if I had Joe, because I had just did Don't Want to Be a Player for Joe like a couple years before that. So I was like, it would be dope if Joe sang on this, but not like a duet. Just like a little quick jab, and you just hear that voice one time. And I don't know if you know where it's at on the record, but literally like Joe has like one little part. But I'm gonna go to something interesting for you. If you go and play the Angel in Disguise record, I want you, while you're playing it, to also pull up It's Not Worth It for Brandy, because I'm going to show you something really interesting.
Okay.
So play Angel in Disguise.
An angel has always been thought to be one of God's most precious works. Guess that's how she had you fooled. Because she was an angel in disguise. Hurt and pain could never come from her. So you left me only to find that hurt and pain involves her. But now you see your mistakes. Now you see your angel was a fake. But my love was never misplaced. So baby, my love is true. And most importantly, still I love you.
Song wouldn't have been possible without those incredible vocals by Brandy. Like her vocals are bar none. Like still probably the best vocals we've experienced in R&B and pop music. Like her tone and everything, and the growth of her, because the Brandy from the I Want to Be Down album is a different tone of the Brandy You'll Never Say No, which is a different tone for the Brandy of Full Moon. So to see that growth vocally, those swells and stuff, I don't know if anybody could have did those crescendos like that. So I wanted you to play It's Not Worth It from Full Moon real quick, because I want to show y'all something really cool that I did on It's Not Worth It. Keisha, what up?
Don't say it's time for us to quit. Don't
and the chords.
Violence can't be it. Baby, please, cause it's not worth it.
So this was like part 2 of Angel in Disguise.
just want to know what planet you came from.
That's Michael Jackson right there.
Wow.
And right here too. Now listen, listen.
Don't tell me you won't let it. Don't say it's time for us to quit. It's not working.
Okay, so that record was part 2 of Angel in Disguise, but because someone asked earlier about like Michael Jackson, was that a sample? No, I was simultaneously working with Michael Jackson.
Wow.
So I was finishing up Michael Jackson and starting on Full Moon. So Michael, we was doing sessions and I had those chords up one day and Michael ran in the booth and he did that little lick. He was like singing melodies. And well, he's actually sang melodies to the whole joint. And we ended up not doing it on Michael. And I took those 2 phrases that he did and put them on Brandy as part of the production.
Wow.
So that's how that happened. Yeah.
Man, I'm glad you stopped me, man, because I didn't never know that Michael Jackson was on that record and Joe was on Angel of the Sky. Said that one part.
Why don't you return my calls? Why you trip out where I be? You don't ever come to see me. You say that you're too busy. What the hell's I don't have time? Why you messing with my mind? I can find another guy, someone who will treat me right. I don't need this. Oh yeah, I won't put up with it any longer. Yeah, so if you want, I know we just can't see. I will be just fine if you decide you want to be closer. So behind you, I just want to know what about all of the things that you said? What about all of the what about us? I need to think that I hit this. Now what if I said that you wasn't fit to be with? Now what if I told you this game is play everything? Now what if I said what she wants to do you and I know that me to know you. What about physical fast food? Give you all you said to me is paid.
Rain shit, big shit, island, J Matters, Patsy, Nisha, B-Rock, a dark shower.
Yo, so all right, so what about us? First of all, it's crazy because I can remember the day that it came from boom. It came from the groove. The bass line was the first thing that came, and it was all about that groove. And then this young girl that came from LA, I had heard her stuff. Her name was Kanisha Pratt.
Wow.
And her and her brother K Young came to Jersey, and she just started singing that record, bro. Like it was just coming out of her. What about all of that? And the way she did it, she had this quirkiness about her. So it was like, all of that, dang, that.
Wow.
And so, and then, you know, it was just like, oh, whoa. She was different, bro. Like she also wrote When You Touch Me on Full Moon album.
Wow.
And a couple more, but she was different. And so, because I believe, like, you know, again, going back to the marriage of a song, like production wise, like it wouldn't have been as crazy probably if someone else would have wrote it, because she was so different. She added that different thing that made it groove the way it grooved with the track.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then what we did was Brandy added all the harmonies to match my reverse strings. I had this patch called tape strings that I would use.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
she was doing that with her voice. So it was like what you hearing is like some really crazy stuff. And then also the way we stack, no one was stacking like people stack like, 4 times. But because I worked with Michael, and Michael would stack like, so many 30, 40 stacks and craziness. Brandy, we was doing 16 stacks, and that record was so left field. Even like the rhythms, there was no quantize at all.
Yeah, absolutely not.
No quantize. I turned it off because I remember when everybody's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know. I just feel like I want to be off." And I actually created a sound. I called it the off and on knock. Like at the time, it was like just the off and on knock, because I wanted it to sound like it was on at sometimes, but it was off at other times.
Right.
And man. And then I remember throwing away one of my, not throwing it away, but I had a piece of equipment that I used that had some crazy sounds. And after I finished the Full Moon album, I threw it away. Like I threw it in a closet at my crib in Florida. And the reason why is because I wanted to break the mold and not use it ever again and feel like that's special. And so I feel like it can't, like that's kind of the craziest sound to ever try to be replicated or duplicated.
Right.
It's going to be so hard for someone else to decode that whole song, because it was so many. It's still one of my favorite tracks.
Oh my God.
It's out of my catalog. It really stands out in its own world.
Like
it's in its own. It was.